Alright, we're going to continue with this series, and we're going to talk about the all-time Tennessee Titans. Offense and defense, special teams, of course, like all the time. Again, great topic to talk about. A team that's doing pretty well this year. I definitely could see them, I could see them in the playoffs, but right now they're in the playoff hunt. I'm pretty sure they're supposedly a fifth seed or something. I don't know. All I know is that them and the Jacksonville Jaguars. Oof, tell you, Jaguars and Titans. They surprised me this year. I mean, I knew it would eventually come up where they would actually start being good. Titans more than the Jaguars because of that quarterback situation. But Titans working out super well. Anyway, let's take a look at their information. They were established on August 3rd, 1959, about 58 years ago. Their first season was 1960. And currently they play in the Nissan Stadium in Nashville, Tennessee. They're headquartered in St. Thomas Sports Park, Nashville, Tennessee. So that's pretty cool. They were in the AFL in the Eastern Division from 1960 to 1969, moved to the National Football League from 1970, and still in there. They've been in the AFC since 1970. They were a part of the AFC Central Division from 1970 to 2001, but came up to the AFC South 2002 to now. Their team colors are navy, Titan blue, red, silver, white. Their mascot is T-Rack. The owner, KSA Industries. The chairman, Susie Adams Smith and Amy Adams Strunk. The CEO and president is Steve Underwood. The general manager is John Robinson, and the head coach, Mike Mularkey. They were a part of the Houston Oilers from 1960 to 1996. Moved to the Tennessee Oilers from 1997 to 1998, and officially became the Tennessee Titans since 1999. They have won 2 league championships, 2 AFL championships, 1960 and 61, and they have also won 1 conference title in the AFC back in 1999 when they went to the Super Bowl, and we all know about that Super Bowl against the Rams, one of the best Super Bowls I've seen, for sure. They were very close to it. They've won 9 division titles. The AFL East, they won in 1960, 61, 62, and 67. In the AFC Central, they won in 1991 and 1993, as well as 2000. And in the AFC South, they have won it in 2002 and 2008. They have been in the playoffs 21 times. They are in the AFL 1960 through 62, then 67 and 69. In the NFL 1978 through 80, 1987 through 1993, and then 1999 to 2000, 2002, 2003, 2007, and 2008. Home fields they played in are a lot. They went from Jefferson Stadium from 1960 to 1964, to Rice Stadium from 1965 to 1967, to the Houston Astrodome from 1968 all the way to 1996, moved to the Liberty Bowl Memorial Stadium 1997, the Vanderbilt Stadium in 1998, and eventually became the Nissan Stadium since 1999. This is a team that's hasn't won a Super Bowl, so as you put it, they're still searching for one. They will have one eventually. I feel like every team will. I mean, it's bound to happen, but you never know. But with sports, you never know. So I really do believe that they could win a title. Like I said, it all goes back to look at the Cubs now. That the Cubs are kind of an example of any team can win. So honestly, they could definitely win. But yeah, they haven't had a big powerhouse history of winning a lot. So they are definitely trying to change that culture, starting pretty much this coming season, this season right now that they're playing in. All right, you're gonna have to start with the QB. It's gonna be Warren Moon. Honestly, I believe Warren Moon is very right for this job. Honestly, he is one of the best to ever do it at quarterback. Honestly, he is really one of the best, for sure. I mean, it was a hard decision because you have Steve McNair, you've had Gary Collins. It's been some good guys to come out there, but Warren Moon, I think, has done it the best out of this entire organization. Has done it. So Hall of Famer, he's a 9-time Pro Bowler, and he's just one of those guys that he has really owned. He's just really done such a great job. Played for so many years till he was 44. It's amazing. but he did start when he was 28. He was all around that Arena Football League kind of thing. So Warren Moon, though, wow, just looking at what he's done out there in Houston. I mean, he's won 70 games. He played in 141. He had over 30,000 yards. He was 4 touchdowns away from 200. Just a guy that won a lot. 18 fourth quarter comebacks, 23 game winning drives. You know, very, very much a key asset to this team. Again, they got to the playoffs throughout. I mean, with him, you're looking at a 6-year period a 5-year period with him where they went to the playoffs almost every year, pretty much. When he got in the league in '84, it took him 3 years to get to the playoffs, and boom, just like that, till '93, he was just leading them, and he led the Minnesota team to the '94 playoffs. But I mean, you're just taking a look at a guy that, he didn't get much things done. He is not a Super Bowl champion, by far from that. But he was exciting. He was entertaining to watch. And I honestly think, for what it's worth, yes, he was one of the best in this era, in this 80s, 90s era. That was just, he was just a great passing attack guy. And definitely, I would say, even though it was the 90s, I mean, you don't get many African-American quarterbacks, so it's a lot of controversy. And you know what? I think, honestly, he's the guy that kind of made it possible to be like, nah, dude, like, it doesn't matter what I am, who I am, what color I am, anything, really, like, what type of class status I am, anything. He just made it possible for people to just follow their dreams. And Warren Moon, like I said, great guy. Haven't heard much bad things about the guy, but just the fact that he was just a winner and he really wanted to win, he's gonna bring a good vibe there. All right, starting with fullback Earl Campbell. Earl Campbell, just what a dude, honestly. Just powerful guy. Being under 6 foot, powerful dude that can just not be afraid of anything. Just come in and just fucking hammer out. And honestly, just a guy that honestly I had to put him because honestly, this is an organization that has had their pretty good running backs. Some consistent for a few years, some consistent for almost their entire career, or whatnot. But they have had some pretty decent running backs in this organization. So with that, I needed to have a fullback and a running back. It was impossible to just not have any of those guys. And also, like I said, you're looking at a pretty decent offense, in my opinion, because I think you got a guy that has a cannon, and they're gonna have a fullback that can run. A Hall of Famer, a 5-time Pro Bowler, has been an MVP. He's been a 3-time All-Pro. Just overall fantastic. A guy that's pretty much had almost 10,000 yards. A guy that's had 74 rushing touchdowns, but he's also had 121 receptions in his career. He's a guy that can, he can get it done. And you can't really mess with him. I mean, he's won a lot. He's done a lot. He's, like I said, MVP, and being on an all 1970s team, being an offensive player of the year, being nominated for so many things. Honestly, one of the best running backs of the 80s, in my honest opinion. So, late 70s, early 80s, had to be Earl Campbell. He had to be on there, on that list. He was a force to be reckoned with. All right, our running back, you're going to have Eddie George. He had such a great run. 4-time Pro Bowler and All-Pro. Just tough dude that had just such a great run with the Tennessee Titans. Pretty much 8 years in Houston/Tennessee. Went to Dallas for 1 year. That didn't end so well. But this is a guy that had over 10,000 rushing yards. A guy that was not afraid. Like, honestly, he was ready to go, and he was going to just light it up. And he was going to be that guy that puts you in the ground. He was a tough running back. I think he definitely reminds me a lot of what's going to happen with him and Earl Campbell. And honestly, it's the best. It's the scariest backfield Honestly, when you look at Eddie George as well as Earl Campbell, I mean, two guys that can run the ball very well and will run the ball very well, and tough nails, like tough as nails. They won't go down easy. It's going to be something. So honestly, I see him excelling, and just another weapon right now for the Titans, having Earl Campbell and Eddie George. They both can receive the ball as well. So you're looking at a pretty nice offense. All right, you got to have some wide receivers to work with you. I'm going to have Ernest Givins. Ernest Givins is a guy that's had over 500 receptions. He isn't a guy that I could say like is one of the best receivers of all time, but he's been to a couple Pro Bowls. He's been in the Tennessee Houston Oilers for 9 years, being once with the Jaguars. But this is a guy that had the ability of, having some great seasons. Honestly, a guy that was put up for also rushing, so that's kind of cool. But yeah, this is a guy that I think he's gonna do perfect out there in Tennessee. I think he'll definitely be a good, just a great option for Warren Moon, because the fact that they have played with each other, that's always big, especially like I said, with team sports like football. You need good chemistry to get the job done and at a high level, and I think Ernest Givins gives them that. Now the other receiver is going to be Drew Hill, a guy that played for the Houston Oilers for 7 years, was also a part of that LA Rams organization. This is a guy that had over 630 plus receptions. This is a guy that almost had 10,000 receiving yards. This is a man that, honestly, when you have him out there, especially come playoff time, he's going to catch a lot of balls. He's going to be a reliable source, reliable weapon, and like I said, honestly, another guy that's played with Warren Moon. So I think that's very important for them, for the three of them to have that connection, especially the fact that they already have a solid backfield. Having a passing game is just as important. So I think they'll do fine, these three in general. So Givins and Hill, pretty good tandem. All right, tight end be Frank Wycheck. Wycheck is a guy, you guys know him mostly for being that Music City Miracle game. But this is a guy that was starting in 1996 as a Houston Oiler, or 1995, my bad, ending his career in 2003. But this is a guy that was a very reliable tight end, a guy that was pretty solid, pretty good height, 3-time Pro Bowler. Overall, like I said, a guy that was a very reliable offensive source, and a guy that honestly I think he'll do super well in, for sure. A guy that will do super well, and Warren Moon's gonna have some pretty good options. It's kind of sad not putting Derek Mason in here. I just give it to Givins, Hill, and Wycheck as more of their receiver types, and also I'm just gonna do a 2 running back system, or pretty much 2 running back system with 3 weapons here. All right, now the line is very important. I gotta go with Brad Hopkins as the left tackle. 2-time Pro Bowler, is a guy that's been in Houston and Tennessee. Started in almost 200 games. Overall, just very valuable team. Was a part of that team that got to the Super Bowl. But yeah, Brad Hopkins, I think, will do wonders on this team. It's a good start to the line. So, and I do actually really like their line. So I think they will do some wonderful things for sure. Yeah, left guard Bruce Matthews. I think that's solid. That's a solid thing. I mean, in my opinion, he's the best guard ever in the NFL. Ever. 14-time Pro Bowler, 7 All-Pro, Hall of Famer, of course. He's a guy that's anchored this entire line for years. And like I said, he, in my honest opinion, he really is the best guard I've ever seen play. Left guard wise, the best left guard I've ever seen play in my entire life. In terms of actually like coming up with film, seeing guys, it's the best guy I've ever really seen play at the guard position, one of the best linemen of all time. So having that in your arsenal, that's important. All right, center is going to be Mike Munchak. another Hall of Fame guy, another 9-time Pro Bowler, 2-time All-Pro, a guy that's pretty much been a guard. I mean, nonetheless, but I'm gonna put him at center. I didn't really, unfortunately, didn't find a center, but in my opinion, I couldn't have not put Mike Munchak on this list. It's kind of like it's almost, in my opinion, it just feels wrong. You know, it really does. It just feels like a wrong thing to do. I honestly believe that having Mike Munchak in here is just going to make the line. Well, first of all, the line's already fantastic, but also there's a guard out there that's also going to benefit, that I don't think would be as successful at center. I just believe in Mike Munchak and his ability of being just a fantastic lineman. So, yeah, that's why I'm putting him at center. All right, you're going to have right guard Benji Olsen. Benji Olsen is a guy that played from 1998 to 2007 as a right guard. He's going to be that. He's going to be just that, actually. And I think he's going to excel. Honestly, there's no way around it. I just believe he's one of those X Factor guys that, he could either surprise you or, well, we'll see. But no, this is a guy that I think will be doing some pretty great things overall. So I do believe in him and his, responsibility and everything he's going to do for this line. All right, well, you're going to have right tackle Michael Roos. How about that, huh? Michael Roos, being a one-time Pro Bowler and one-time All-Pro, played pretty much every single game for the Tennessee Titans, which is my opinion. He should be nominated for just being one of those guys that they look up to in Tennessee. I mean, he may have not had as much, but he put in the effort, man. He was exceptional. He was an exceptional player. He made everything count, and this is, like I said, he's just you cannot not have him, on here. I think he's gonna do exceptional things, and hopefully you can have his name put on that Tennessee Titans, in that stadium. I just believe he was overall just a pretty consistent lineman, and I think having him at that right tackle position, having this line overall protecting Eddie George and everything, I believe this line will be pretty well. Will do pretty well and excel.